man.
All right. Should be up.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I see it, man.
All right.
Look at you at the pool, enjoying life.
I mean, I figure if people in Florida can do it, I can do it too.
That's fair enough.
I mean, that's all y'all know how to do.
What does that mean?
I mean, that ain't nothing good going on in Florida. I mean, y'all ain't got no good football teams, ain't got no good basketball teams. I mean,
that's true.
Dwayne Wade is about to leave y'all. Y'all gonna be left with Whiteside and that contract nobody wants.
I mean, none of that hurts my feelings. I don't support none of these teams.
Yeah, you do. I know you on the bandwagon.
No.
No, not at all.
None here. No, sir.
Okay.
I know you on your. I know you already got your Denver Broncos stuff, Nuggets. You ready?
Hey, got Von Miller, Bradley Chubb ready to go. Hey man, we've been live for about a minute, so I figured you want to go ahead and introduce us, or you still want to?
Yeah, man. I was just waiting to see a few more people come on in. How y'all doing? As you can see, my partner over there, James Kern, he out there enjoying his best life. Myself, Derek Martin, I can't afford that life. So
first off, you in Florida, you good enough.
Huh?
I said you in Florida. I mean, you look at that lineup. Somebody went and saw the barber lately.
Yeah.
Then got cleaned up.
It was time, man. So, man, we got a lot to talk about today. Listen, we got our first preseason game. We got the Hall of Fame class. Please, fans out there, ask away. If y'all got something y'all want to talk about, let's talk about it. One thing that came up that I thought was interesting, I'm going to bring up this list. James has it as well. So there's this list of top 10 receivers in the league. I'm going to go over it real quick.
I mean, before we even get in that, you're going to tell the people what they're watching, because they might be new. So
yeah, I'm sorry. You're right.
So let me go ahead and, I'm James Kern, my man over there, Derek Martin, and this is Everything Sports. 3 Dream Sports. You can find us on Everything Sports. Check us out, like us, and all that other good stuff, But let's go ahead and get into this top 10 list since you're anxious to get at it.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know why.
I'm ready. I mean, number 1, they got Antonio Brown. Number 2, we got Odell Beckham. Number 3, DeAndre Hopkins. Number 4, they got Julio Jones. 5, Michael Thomas from the Saints. 6, A.J. Green. 7, Keenan Allen. Number 8, your boy over there in Denver, Demaryius Thomas. Number 9 and 10 both belong to Vikings. We got number 9, Stephon Diggs, and then 10, Adam Thielen. Let me ask you, how you feel about this list overall?
I'm a little upset. I feel like AJ Green shouldn't be at least top 5. I mean, I feel like that right there. He should be top 5. I mean, I'm okay with 1 through 4. I feel like that's interchangeable, depending on how you feel, depending on who you go for. I don't know why Demaryius Thomas is on this list. I feel like he's had better days. If you look at what he's done in the games, he drops a lot of passes. I don't feel like he's a top 10 player. I mean, granted, he's still better than most receivers. Maybe we can move Keenan Allen up just a little bit, but I don't know how far you can move him up. I feel like 7's a good spot for him. Adam Thielen. I don't know why he made the top 10.
Top 10, boy. He sneaks in.
I don't like that. I mean, yes, he had a great year. He had a great season. But he's only shown that once.
I agree, yeah.
So I don't feel like that's top 10 material right there. Now, if we're just doing this off of last year, okay, I give it to him. But for me to make the top 10, I feel like you got to do more than just have one good year. You got to show me a body of work. I mean,
right.
How do you feel about it?
Okay, well, I had a problem with the list besides the list. Let me go on a little further. At the bottom of this top 10, it has an honorable mentions. For me, I'm cool if you drop 2 names, 1 or 2 names for honorable mentions. So it at least seems like there was a battle to sneak into that 10 between these guys. This honorable mention has Adams from Green Bay, Baldwin, Cooper, Mike Evans, Robinson, and Sanders. First off, wow, this just became a top 16 list. I mean, that alone was a little much for me, but I agree with you. The top 4, for me, up until last year, I had Julio top 3. He kind of fell off for me. I would drop him to 4. I like the top 4, like you said. I could live with that. For me, AJ Green has to sneak into the top 5 as well. He's a beast. He's a beast. I
don't know how you sneak him in there. I feel like he deserves to be there. I don't feel like that's...
Yeah, absolutely. He's a beast. I mean, unfortunately, he's with the Cincinnati Bengals, who that organization's a mess. That's not his fault. And for me, after I switch it, I put Keenan Allen 6, and then I got Michael Thomas, maybe 7. For me, I would take 2 people off this list. For me, Demaryius, like you said, and Adam got to leave. I would replace one. I'd probably put him number 10 for me. Mike Evans, I think he makes it on that list.
Okay, now.
And with that being said, I'd probably move up then to replace Thomas. I'd probably move Diggs up and put Adams in my top 10 because I love Adams. Unfortunately, his health happens to be the kicker, but I'm a big fan of his work.
So, I mean, I just now saw that honorable mention part that you brought up, and
yeah,
I agree with you that some people should be moved off. Like, if I'm going to put somebody on there, I'm going to put Adams. I'm going to put Emmanuel Sanders on there, too, because I feel like he's the true big play receiver. So, for me, I would take Diggs off, Thielen off, and I'd move up Adams and Sanders in there.
And you keep Thomas on?
He has to go, too, but I don't... Okay, with that, I'd take the bottom 3 off. I'd put Adams at 8, Sanders at 9, and... I could give you Evans. I could give you Mike Evans at number 10.
Yeah. I'm not crazy by any means about Mike Evans. I think he does have his issues with drops, but, I think he's definitely solid enough to make top 10, being number 10 receiver on this list out of these guys. I think he definitely can be number 10 with these on this.
So, I mean, with that overall... I feel like this is a fair list. You could move people around. But my question is, do you think Odell will, once he signs this contract, do you think that will move him above Antonio Brown? I mean, let's take the Giants love out of it. Let's just base this off of... let's just base it off of that.
For me, I'm going to, if I'm being honest... This one's hard for me because if you think about even before his injuries, right, Odell was breaking a record literally every year he's playing before his injuries. But I love Odell, and I'm a big Odell fan, him being a Giant. But I love everything that comes with him. His size, like I said, I love it. So I don't think the contract is gonna, for me at least, move Odell. It's gonna be huge. He deserves to get paid.
Without a doubt.
If he shows out and he could continue, yeah, obviously he can easily take that number 1. I think he could take that number 1 spot.
Okay. I mean, it seems like people get rated higher by the contract they sign. So I just wanted to, get your feelings on that, see if that was...
What I thought was interesting is for this page to do a top 10 and then have pretty much another top 10 as honorable mentions. I was surprised to see Tyreek Hill didn't sneak in the conversation. He's another beast. But they had some... I'm not saying he is top 10 or not, but I'm just saying for me, Baldwin is one of the quiet names. Cooper, to me, had a really off season, so I don't know why he's getting an honorable mention. So that's why I was kind of, that's a little weird. I don't get why Tyreek didn't make that list.
I mean... It is what it is.
Because for me, he would probably be my honorable mention. For, like I said, if I did a 10 and I only chose 1 or 2 guys after that.
Well, the other thing I'm kind of surprised about is, while I agree with you with the Tyreek Hill thing, I feel like Tyreek Hill kind of falls into that wildcat position. Kind of, he's a receiver, he's a running back. So I feel like with that, you're kind of like, what list do I rank him on? You know, he's special teams beast. So I feel like he's kind of if there was a wildcat ranking or something like that, that's where I'd put him.
Okay.
I mean, now that we done hopped on that, I saw a post on Everything Sports. Chris Carey threw it out there. I'm guessing he's a Texas fan. 27 days until football season, till college football season starts. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Let's go ahead and hop into that. The rankings are out.
Yes.
So lay it on me. I know you got the top 5 over there. So
I got the top 5 for us here. And it's going to be interesting, obviously, due to the fact of, certain situations. But number 1, Alabama. Clemson's number 2. Ohio is number 3. Georgia 4. Washington number 5.
Okay, so let's go ahead and hop into this. I mean, Alabama's going to be ranked number 1. They deserve it. They won a natty last year, so you can't take that away from them. Just a couple of things that I've noticed. If we got any Alabama fans out there, how do you feel about the QB controversy? Is it made up, or do you think Tua's going to start over Jalen? And do you think he should start over Jalen?
I think there's definitely quarterback competition. I mean, if you watch the championship, the national championship, I mean, I don't think, first off, Alabama, they're not known for their quarterbacks, I'll put it that way. They never get that guy that we're like, oh yeah, he's going to the pros and he is that guy. That's not what they're known for. They're known for their running backs, receivers as far as offense.
Defense, all the way.
Yeah, so I think there is going to be a competition, and I think there should be. I mean, Alabama, they know how to win without the greatest quarterbacks or the best quarterbacks, so it's not an issue. You could probably plug either one in and be fine. But
okay.
I definitely think there should be a competition. I mean, why not? If there's a dude right there neck and neck, why shouldn't he get an opportunity?
Well, I mean, for me, I look at it, Jalen Hurts is 25 and something. Like, he's had like 25 and 4. Let's say something like that.
Right.
I'll look at, I'll get back on the stats, but if there's a fan out there who knows the exact win-loss, throw it out there for the rest of the people, help me out. But I mean, the dude's, he's been the guy, and I feel like he should start off rip. He should start because he's shown you the body of work. He's done what he's needed to do. And Alabama's known what they had with him forever. The last 3 years, so there shouldn't be any surprise on that. But, I mean, Tua did win the natty. I mean, I'm fairly confident to say that without him, they would have lost their game because I felt like Georgia had them.
Oh, man. Georgia's defense was all over that offense until they made that switch, I felt like.
Pretty much. So, I feel like that's good. He should start. But, I mean, for anybody who's following it, the new redshirt rule, if they play under 4 games, I think you get to redshirt them. So I feel like that could also help out Tua too with that. Play in 4 games, redshirt them, boom, there you go.
How do you feel about Ohio State right now being 3rd in their coaching situation with Urban? Do you think that affects them, or do you think they have enough pieces in the staff to just say, you know what, we can keep this thing rolling?
I almost feel like they've hit the Alabama status when it comes to they're just a machine. Like, as long as they have great players. And I feel like in college football, you're able to get away with just having great players. Now, having a great coach helps out a lot. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking the coaching staff or anything like that. But when you've got 5 stars at every position, I mean, you're looking like an NFL team. I mean, you could probably beat Cincinnati. If we put you on the field. I think that they can keep it going. Now, as far as the Urban Meyer situation goes, that's a mess. I feel like, this is that, J. Cole song, "What You Do in the Dark is going to come to the light," and it's going to blind you.
Right.
And I'm curious to see how this plays out, because if his wife talked to the assistant coach's wife,
to Zach's wife,
I feel like that's something that you've mentioned ahead of time. Like, you can't say, it's not like they were talking about, hey, we're gonna have a barbecue and you forget. That's not a barbecue type of thing.
Here's the thing about that too. In an article, the Boston College head coach, he came out. He was part of that staff with Florida when this all went down. He came out and said he also knew about the situation. He didn't go into detail. He said, he didn't know necessarily the details and all of that stuff. He did know that there was something going on with Zach Smith in his personal life, and the school was involved, and they were making him and his wife take counseling. With that being said, he also, went in to try to cover himself, stating, I'm totally against domestic violence. It won't be tolerated from my staff, players, and such and such. So I felt like that was his way of saying, well, if he knew, maybe everyone kind of knew about this, and Florida did their own in-house dealing with this, So maybe that's why Urban Meyer was kind of like, okay, you know what? You've already been dealt with over there. This is a new era over here. Come on. And if that's the case, I'm someone that believes in second chances. I probably, if I was him, I would give him another chance and want to bring him along too, if I felt like, it was dealt with in-house with the school and they were able to move on. Now, if this is a completely different situation now,
that's what I'm concerned about.
If Zach Smith's wife's calling your wife, and your wife's going to tell you, I feel like that's not something that she's just going to sleep on,
Yeah, that's something you don't pretend.
If his wife's calling and through that, then that's a whole different conversation.
But that's the thing. That's what I'm kind of curious about right there. Is this a situation that happened earlier? Because if you followed the story at all, you've seen the text between Zach and his wife where he apologizes for doing something on vacation, which, I kind of want to know. I want to get more about this. Like, was this a follow-on situation? Because if you also think about it, Florida's a bunch of criminals.
It's a mess.
I'm not trying to say like anything bad about Florida or anything like that, but Florida's had their fair share of problems. Mm-hmm. And maybe this was one of those times where they were just like, hey, we're winning. It's not a bad situation, because we've all seen it. If you win, people look the other way on certain things. I don't feel like this is one of those things that they should look the other way from. Maybe they did their own internal investigation and we just never heard anything about it. But I feel like we would have heard something at Florida if this was if he had done it there. Does that make sense?
Well, that's the thing. Like I said, that Boston College coach, he came out. Let me get his name real quick. He came out and he said he was aware of the situation when he was part of that coaching staff at Florida. So, it has to have been going on for a little bit. Where is this guy's name? I had it just a little while ago. I want to say he was part of Boston. Maybe it's not Boston. I'm sorry. I might have.
Well, while we're looking up that,
yeah.
Who do we got at number 3? Clemson?
No, Clemson was number 2. They were number 3.
Okay, well let's get into Clemson real quick, because the last couple of years, it's been either Clemson or Alabama in the Natty. Last year they didn't make it there. But for me, I feel like Clemson has a great shot. What I'm really curious to see is, once again, we have maybe a QB competition. We got another true freshman, Lawrence, coming in, pushing Kelly Bryant, the incumbent starter. So we have that. We saw what happened at Georgia. Fromm comes in, does his thing, and takes them to the Natty. So I'm curious to see because I watched the spring game. I have nothing better to do, but watch college football in the spring game. Do big things like that. And I mean, Lawrence can play, so I think they have a better shot with him than Bryant starting. But who knows? I'm sitting by the pool. I'm not coaching. I'm not getting paid millions of dollars. So, what do we got for number 4?
Number 4. Where's this list? Who did I say was number 4? Oh, Georgia. Georgia is at number 4, which I like this Georgia team, man. I feel like Georgia the last few years have been killing it scouting-wise. I feel like, for me, I think they should be ranked 3rd at least. I mean, I love this team. They every year it seems like they're coming out and just straight killing it. I mean, I'm all for it.
That's true. I mean, they're also. I agree that they should be higher, but it's one of those things where I'm curious to see this kid. If you haven't noticed, I follow a lot of quarterback controversies, quarterback competitions, because I mean, kids today are just showing out. I mean, they're doing things that you're not expecting of a true freshman. I mean, they got Fields, who was the number 1 rated quarterback. I know Penn State's kind of upset if you got any Penn State fans out there. He originally signed with them, and then I take that back. He committed, and then he backed out and went to Georgia.
Hey, sometimes you got to back on out of situations.
That's true, and I mean, I'm not mad at him. I feel like that was probably he made the best choice for him. But right. I'm curious to see, do we see another freshman, take over? Because everything I've read, everything I've heard about him, I mean, people are like, this kid's legit. This kid's NFL ready, and he's only a freshman. So that's kind of curious. I mean, I'd like to see that play out a little bit. I mean, the other thing, Georgia lost both running backs to the draft. Both were great backs, but it's like Georgia has.
Their scouts killed it, and their recruitment killed it, and they were able to bring in quite a few big backs and just fast dudes. I mean, this Georgia team has been bringing in running backs. I'm excited to see them play, man.
I mean, the one running back that I'm excited to see, he got to play a little bit last year, DeAndre Swift, just a speed back. Almost, I would compare him to Tyreek Hill. Has the speed to break at any play, but he's not as big as Tyreek. He's kind of that tall. He's a leaner kid, so let's see how that works out for him. Hopefully they don't run him into the ground. But I mean, at 5 we got Washington. I don't see how they made the top 5. I mean, I don't see anything special about them. But I feel like the first game of the season where they play Auburn, that will give us the true test, because Auburn's an SEC team. I feel like whenever you play an SEC team, you got to bring your A game. And I think that'll help. That will give me the true test. That'll be the first eye test for me. I know a lot of people like to say that, I want to see the eye test and stuff like that. And I feel like that will give us the first really true chance to see what kind of Washington team do we have.
Well, Washington's offense they always put up points. So I mean, I'm not concerned about that. I want to see if they finally put it all the way together, where they're able to actually stop teams on the defense, because they're good to put up a ton of points on you. It's just a matter of their defense lets up just as much, though. So, I mean, if their defense figures this out, this might be something special to watch. I did get that name for the Boston coach, by the way. He was part of the Florida team when this supposedly took place. His name's Steve Adizzo. I might be butchering that, but he says, while an assistant coach at Florida in 2009, I was aware that there was a personal life issue with Zach and Courtney Smith. He also added, or he says, I did not know the specifics, but I did know the school got involved, and they were both made to go to counseling. So this does go back, for as far as that issue, back to Florida.
I see.
So that it's interesting. It's interesting.
That right there scares me.
Yeah.
As far as an Ohio State fan, as far as somebody who just likes college football in general, that scares me, because if there's been a pattern of this, that lets me know you've had to know, you've heard about it in the hallway. You've heard somebody mention it, you've heard about it, and this isn't something you can just play dumb, blind and dumb to, because it's happened before in your program. And if an assistant coach, if that assistant coach who's on another team has said, hey, this has been an issue before, come on, Urban, you know about it, or at least you've at least been told the investigation has gone through, or he's gone to counseling.
Here's the ugly thing for me, man, is, the thing that's going to be tough for Urban, especially trying to stay in this setting, if he does end up getting let go. His name is big, but will it be big enough to get him a college job? I don't know. But the thing that's ugly, and I think people are definitely going to look at, is the fact that Mrs. Smith reached out to your wife. Obviously, she's at a point where she's in trying to do something. So, I mean, that's tough. That's tough. I mean, I don't know how you swallow that.
I mean, not to downplay this situation, we'll keep the fans updated. We'll let you guys know what's going on with this and stuff like that. We're definitely not going to sweep this story under the rug and just forget about it. But, I mean, we had our first football game Thursday night.
Man.
It's almost over, the drought, pretty soon we'll have football, college and NFL. But we had the Hall of Fame game. We had the Bears and the Ravens go at it. Talk to me. What did you like? What didn't you like?
I absolutely loved watching RG3, man. He looked good. Second thing that excited me during his drive is how sick Joe Flacco looked that RG3 was able to score. Like, he looked absolutely disgusted that RG3 put up points. It was kind of bad, man. But RG3 looked good. The Ravens defense looked good at times, making the push to get that interception. They stayed strong. They looked good. Fans, the thing I tell fans, man, I've been seeing Lamar Jackson get a lot of heat for his play. He went like 4 of 10. He did have that good drive where he went down, had the touchdown. Now, mind you, one, of course, he's not with his starters, nor is he playing the starters at the point he comes in. He comes in the second half. But this dude only played 2 quarters of NFL time, and it's preseason. Don't hold this and say, because a lot of people are saying, oh, he's the next Tim Tebow. Stop it. This dude's literally only played 2 preseason quarters. He's only going to get better. To me, that first drive he did when he was able to score, it looked good. It looked good. Obviously, defense made some switches, adjustments, and got into him. But
for me, I feel like I agree with you. The Tim Tebow reference is way out there, because this kid can actually throw the football. I mean, that right there. But you also got to look at, you're playing in the Hall of Fame game. You have 0 starters. You're playing with guys trying to make the team. I mean, if anybody is a offensive line coach or anything like that, there was a lot of times where you saw the offensive line just kind of go like, okay, just put a hat on somebody. Just try to look good so I have something good on tape. For me, what I was scared about with Lamar and RG3 needs to talk to him about is sliding, getting down.
Yeah.
Because I saw a lot of him trying to get the extra yard or the extra, something. But that's not good, because we've seen it. People will stand you up so that way Terrell Suggs, or somebody like that, you can just come
in and clean you up, boy.
Pretty much. And you saw that a little bit, but it wasn't as bad. What I'm curious about after seeing the Hall of Fame game is, can anybody explain the new tackling rule? Because there was a couple of times where I saw a flag that was thrown for targeting, but for me, I didn't see it. Maybe I'm old school and it didn't bother me, but I feel like
it's tough, man. They definitely, this new rule changes the game completely. The new rule, the way they explained it is, as soon as you dip your helmet at all, pretty much it's a penalty. No matter where you hit the person, it could be the leg. You can have perfect form and come in midsection. If you hit him in the shoulder pads, it doesn't matter. It's a flag. But with that being said, you can hit with your face mask. Come in and hit with your face mask, and that's good. But like you said, I mean, even in that game, there was a few hits that I was like, man, hell. They asked the experts in New York their opinion during the game, and he's like, yeah, that's not a flag, and they kept the penalty. And that's tough. It's tough, man. I feel like this is gonna completely change this season, at least until they review it, and I think we're gonna have flags left and right.
Well, I mean, I feel like Cincinnati's whole team is about to get kicked out. Like, they're going to have nobody because they're always doing cheap shots and stuff like that. I mean, but I feel like it's going to be interesting. I feel like that rule is going to cost people a lot of games.
Right.
So I feel like that's going to be interesting to see once we start counting these games. But, I mean, overall, I thought it was a good game. I thought it was a well-played game.
Here's the flip side of that, though, James, real quick. How do you feel? I mean, obviously, like I said, the rule change says if you dip your head, it's a no-go. How do you feel about our power running backs who do it all the time now? They'll drop their head down to get low to try to bulldoze a guy. I mean...
But here's the thing, though. I feel like this is more targeted towards defense. I mean...
No, obviously, it absolutely is. I mean... They didn't talk about. I'm just asking. Do you think, they should? I guess make it fair so it's more balanced. I mean, because now.
I think they should.
I mean, what's a defender supposed to do?
I think they should. I think they should honestly look at that. They should honestly take into account, like you said, that some running backs dip their head, and then there's also. What if you're trying to tackle like a Tyreek Hill guy? That's somebody that's just little, or a Dion Lewis, like. I almost feel like you have to get low. And when you get that low, how am I supposed to tackle? Am I supposed to just like let you run into me and then like just give you a hug and be like, hey?
I mean, it's completely ridiculous to think that they expect you to just get that low, that fast, keeping up with this dude and somehow keep your face mask up. I mean, that's a lot happening in a second, and wow. I mean, that's just crazy.
That is crazy, and I think the league has made this confusing to anybody who watches it. I understand that you want to protect the players, you want it to trickle down to youth football and stuff like that, where players are learning the proper technique. But still, I mean, what is it going to come down to? Is it like, so I can run face first into you, and then it's fine, like you said, with the face mask? I almost feel like that's worse than letting me kind of drop my head.
It's interesting. I mean,
so
man,
we've talked about the game. We've talked about Lamar Jackson, RG3, which I'm proud to see that he's back in the league. Somebody's giving him a shot and
Absolutely.
Stuff like that. But the real reason everybody tunes in, we're handing out gold jackets left and right. A lot of people made it. I've got a question for the fans. Zach, the middle linebacker from the Dolphins. Go ahead. What's his name? Zach Smith.
Who's that? You talking about the linebacker that should be in? Zach Thomas?
Zach Thomas. Thank you. Thank you for correcting me on that. Zach Thomas. Why is he not in there, but Urlacher is? That's what I want to know.
Wow. Yeah, that's... Whew.
Because I
here's the thing. Sorry to cut you off real quick. I put on the sports page we have, I put earlier, a fan was talking about it, and I'm not huge on Brian Urlacher, especially, of course his numbers speak for itself, yes, but he's never someone that wowed me, and I'm like, boom, first ballot. And then when you look at their numbers, and they're pretty much identical, I just don't understand why he's first ballot, but Zach wasn't. Like, I don't get that.
That's That's kind of what I'm concerned about. And then it also, I feel like, gives credit to T.O. for not going to the Hall of Fame ceremony and stuff like that.
T.O. to me stole the show. Kudos to him first off on not going. I think for someone that was treated the way he was by the NFL, the media, and he did a shout out to the media. He let them know how he felt during his time. But to me, this was the biggest FU to them. This was a screw you. I'm going to do it my way. I've done it my way my whole career. You guys have always doubted me. You always tried to, bully me into doing it your way. And I stayed true to myself. I loved it.
But I feel like this kind of gives credibility to T.O. saying, hey, there's a lot of great players who are getting overlooked. But it's like, how does Urlacher make it in before Thomas?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And then it's like,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And then it's okay. You see a lot of people making it, and you're like, okay, their stats speak for themselves and stuff like that, and they deserve it. But is it because they were friendly? I agree with you. T.O. Was snubbed, had a bad reputation and stuff like that, and didn't get any love. So big ups to him for doing his thing and saying, you know what, I'm gonna do it my way, like you said.
Right. The thing I want to bring up about T.O. that's interesting is when you look at stats as far as touchdowns and yards, him and Randy Moss are pretty much neck and neck. He's got Randy on yards, but Randy's got him on touchdowns, right? But yet, Randy is going to be a first ballot, and then Marvin Harrison beats T.O. for the spot. I'm not trying to take nothing away from Harrison. He was a beast. He deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. But, it just seems like on the regular, they went out of their way to disrespect T.O. even after his career was over. Listen, if you don't like the dude personally, that's one thing. But what he did on the field, and for me, that's what the Hall of Fame should be based on. What did this dude do as a football player? The dude killed it career-wise. Of course, he had seasons where we're like, oh, yeah, he's dropping the ball, this and that. Overall career, his numbers speak for themselves. The dude, no question, should have been in the Hall of Fame a while ago.
So, thinking of who's not in, maybe we could throw this out there and let the fans kind of debate on this one. Who do you think should be in there that's not? Because, I feel like T.O. was everybody's number one. This dude needs to be in there. So who takes the T.O. spot for who needs to be in there?
Man.
if you got somebody in mind, go ahead and throw them out.
No, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, because I don't know if the guy I want to name is eligible. So, and I'm sure he will be, so I don't think he is yet. So, I don't know off the top of my head, but because T.O.'s been that guy, man, for years. It was kind of like Chris Carter made his own cry. He pretty much was his biggest fan, trying to say, hey, I should be in. But then T.O. kind of took over, and they were like keeping him out. So I don't know. Who do you feel? Do you have a guy off the top of your head?
So I'm looking kind of at the list right now, and some guys who are eligible. Just kind of throw it out there. You got Champ Bailey, Tony Gonzalez, Ed Reed. I feel like those guys are gonna make it.
So are they? They're eligible now. Like they could have been in this class
next year.
Okay, so next year. Okay, got it. Okay.
Next year. So couple. I'll throw out a guy. He had a Jacksonville Jaguars left tackle, Tony Baselli. Anybody remembers his career? Was probably the premier left tackle in the game, but just got hurt. So he played 7 years. Injuries kind of derailed his career, but I feel like he's done enough. He's got the resume. He was the guy, and he should be in there. But Isaac Bruce, he should be in there.
Donald Driver's on that list.
What about Edgerrin James?
Torrey Holt is also there.
So there's there are some people out there. Like I said, we'll let the fans, figure out who they want on there, and maybe we'll have our own little.
Carl Banks is on the list. Oh yeah, Carl Banks was an animal. I mean, geez, I'm going over it right now with him. Yeah, there's definitely some guys who Joey Porter,
John Lynch, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's show some love for the offensive line guys. Kevin Mawai, center of the Jets, Titans, and Seahawks. Pretty much locked it down for them. So there's a lot of players out there that should be there.
Oh yeah. Here's the thing: I would definitely take a few of those guys off that list that are eligible right now and replace Urlacher. And that's no disrespect to him. I just think that there's guys that deserve to be in now, and he didn't have to be at first ballot. I mean, I think Urlacher was in a spot where he'll eventually get in just like Zach, but I don't think he was first ballot.
I mean, I feel like, so since we're talking about the T.O. situation, I feel like Zach Thomas takes the T.O. mantle of what did I not do to get in? Like, what more did you want from me? Because, I mean, he was Luke Kuechly. He was that guy that just dissected everything, was ready to go. If you audibled, he probably could walk over there and tell you what play you were going to run. I mean, there was that. Since we're on the football thing,
yes,
I'm in my feelings a little bit. Benjamin coming out saying bad things about Cam.
Yes,
saying if he went to a different team, he would have been better. He would have made. He would have been up there with. This is what I thought was funny. He said he'd have been up there with Odell. He's a special dude. I mean, I don't know if a different quarterback would have put you in the Odell realm. Like,
well, here's where he hurt himself. I mean, we all remember. First off, he had the hype. Everyone expected great things from him. I want to say it was maybe the 2016 offseason. The dude literally came to camp looking like an offensive lineman.
Yes, sir.
That's where things like really got bad for him. I mean, you can't blame that on Cam. Cam didn't tell you to, he didn't force all that food down your face.
He went on the Baker diet.
Dude, like, at some point you got to say, you know what? I did this. I messed up my career. My bad. I did this part. Because his first couple of years, his stats weren't that bad. I want to say he was a double-digit touchdown guy. I know his rookie year for sure he was. He was getting the yards. After then, he starts to dip,
But
it's bad.
You also got to remember he had that preseason knee injury where he tore his ACL, and I feel like that right there is a career changer because you're not going to come back. You're not going to be the same player. So while I will agree with him that Cam is a bit sporadic with his accuracy. He's kind of all over the place. You never know. But I mean, I bring you in. You're 6'5". You know exactly what I'm bringing you in for. You have a catch radius that's amazing. That's all you did at Florida State. You were that guy that we would run fades to. What did you expect when you got to the NFL? I mean, did you expect to come in and like be different? Your NFL DNA is already made up. Like, that's your role. Like Mike Evans. What do we always see him do? Run down the field. We're going to throw it up. And what do they want him to do? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. They want you to out-jump the dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I see what they do. That's what I see Tampa Bay do with Mike Evans. I mean, if there's a Buccaneers fan out there who can correct me, let me know. But that's all I see them do.
Let me tell you what he did. All he did was put more pressure on himself. He's on this Buffalo team who's going to start a rookie quarterback, and we're not sure they're going to have McCoy there to be that, that glue to keep it all together. So guess what? You wanted to, you wish you were in this situation and whatnot. Well, show me that you're that even.
Not bad. I was out here by the pool and stuff like that. Had to do a dip dive and dodge and all that other stuff. Water was going everywhere. People out here having fun, but it's okay. I'm safe. I'm dry. If anybody's concerned about me, because I know nobody cares. But hey, I made it. I survived. But for him to say that about Cam out loud, for me, is just disrespectful. for him to say all that, and I agree with you, he's put more pressure on himself. He's in Buffalo. This dude needs the ball out this year. He needs to have a great season, which I don't think he can do.
I honestly don't think he's in the situation for it.
Well, even if he went to a different team, even if he went to an Aaron Rodgers, an Eli Manning, a Tom Brady.
Yeah, the people. Yeah.
I don't think we get a different result because, like you said, he came to camp looking like, he was ready to play left tackle.
Right.
And that just shows me right there you're not dedicated to your craft. So I don't know how you can say that about your quarterback. Plus, now that you're in Buffalo, how does that make your quarterbacks feel? That you're willing to throw them under the bus?
That's tough, man. Sheesh. Hey, fans, if you guys got anything for us, please let us know. We've been talking about the Hall of Fame and the game. I just wanted to play a little snippet for you fans that might have missed the T.O. segment, his speech, because it was awesome. I just want to play this for you guys.
What I'm about to do next is a little unconventional, but hey, what's new? I'm going to ask that you stand if this applies to you, and I want you to remain standing. If you've ever felt like an outcast, please stand up. This is for you. If you've ever felt isolated, please stand up. If you've been or you've felt misunderstood, please stand up. This is for you. If you've ever been lied on, mischaracterized, please stand up. This is for you. To everyone that has felt like giving up, please stand up. This is for you. To everyone who feels or felt overlooked, please stand up. This is for you. To everyone from small cities with big dreams, please stand up. This is for you. To everyone who has been bullied, please stand up. To everyone who feels that their voice won't be heard, please stand up. This is for you. As I look around the room, most of everybody's standing up. If you're standing up, don't be afraid to be you. I celebrate and I empower you today. We have more commonalities than differences. This entire speech you thought was about me, this was for you.
I just thought that was awesome. I never heard anyone, an athlete, give their speech like that. And I thought that was awesome. I loved it. Hats off to T.O., man.
Well, if anybody watched, I know a lot of fans out there old enough to remember when T.O., played with San Francisco, then went to the Eagles, then went to Dallas and all that other stuff. Everybody remembers that. Not one game did I ever watch and go, you know what, he's taking it all. Not one game did I ever watch and go, you know what, he didn't give 100%. And for as much as you hated him for his antics, you had to respect the man for the way he played the game, for how he played it. I felt like him and Randy Moss played it their way, and they just, they didn't really care. But they also changed the game for other people. They showed, if you ever watched a 30 for 30, where they showed Randy Moss's, his hometown, to see where he came from and to see how he made it. Because if anybody remembers, he was actually supposed to go to Florida State, Randy Moss, but then he got in some trouble and he couldn't enroll, so he ended up going to Marshall. I mean, that right there could mess up a lot of people, losing that. I mean, let's look at the kid from Last Chance U, Malik Henry.
Oh, yeah.
They could have went that route and been, never heard from again. But they kept going and they kept working and they refined their craft to the point to where kids today want to play like them. And, people want to be like them. I mean, even though they're not the best role models when they were younger, I will give you that. I definitely don't want my kid, mooning the Green Bay Packer fans. I don't want them ripping out a Sharpie, signing a football and stuff like that. But
time out, that Sharpie got him millions of dollars.
That's true. I ain't even mad about that. I forgot about that.
That Sharpie got him millions of dollars.
But if you look at it, they played in a way that that got you hyped. That got you like, man, yeah, I want to try to go out there. And I want to try to go do this. So, I mean, that's great. So big ups to them for making it. And big ups for them showing that, hey, no matter where you come from or what situation you're in or how bad it looks, if you keep grinding, if you keep trying, if you keep working, talent's going to get noticed. Somebody's going to notice you. And, that's what I want everybody to take away from that is talent will get noticed. You will get noticed. Keep working. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do anything or you're not good enough or you'll never be good enough. Because, hey, when you make it, guess what? Guess who's going to be the first one trying to get tickets and an autograph?
Yeah, always.
So, with that said, if there's any questions from the fans, we've got a couple of minutes. Please. Let's get some of those. College football, we can talk baseball.
Hey, I got a question for you while we wait to see if the fans want to open up, have anything. Talk to me how you feel about LeBron James in this school.
For me, I feel like this really hits home his idea of more than an athlete.
Yeah.
I feel like that right there really defined him as saying, hey, I'm not just LeBron James. I'm not just a billion-dollar athlete. I remember where I came from. Some of the perks, hey, if your parents don't have a GED, they're willing to help them get that. Free breakfast, lunches, and snacks. If you graduate from this school, free tuition to Akron University. I mean, that right there is motivation for a lot of people to actually finish school because they have money. They have a chance to go get their degree because I know a lot of people, that is the downfall for them not going to college. How am I going to pay for this? And to know that all I got to do is graduate, I mean, that takes a lot of stress off the parents, off the kids, and it helps them out a lot. So I'm impressed. I mean, it's not like he needs to impress anybody, but I think that was a great move by